On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Cash Patel is going to be kicking in some doors. We've got some crazy stuff going on. A lot of people getting swatted, and he's getting to the bottom of that. Spoiler alert. Also got a whole lot of other things going on. Trump's doing some interesting moves. Looks like there's a chance the war might stop and potentially expanding in Iran. Lot to talk about. Let's get into every bit of it, all the nooks and crannies. Got a couple really, really cool things to start with. That at least from my standpoint, and I think it's beautiful. And I've got one thing I'm going to end with. I think it's this guy. Actually, I wanted to put him over here, but there was too much cussing. Kind of says the same thing, but we'll just put it at the end, like I said. Yeah, this guy is a rock star when it comes to success and being successful. This is what I talk about on my manifesting channel. For those of you that ever wondered, it's on YouTube. Just look up Dan Radio Style, one word. That's my channel. I've had it for years and years and years. It's a great channel, a lot of fun. I've done over 1,000 videos over there. So again, I do have a bit of an understanding as to how this process works, and I've seen it in action. I've coached people. I've done a lot of things. I've coached a lot of people, actually. Been a teacher many, many, many times in my life. This dude's speaking brilliance. And for any of you that want to succeed at anything, even if it's being the best mother or being the best father or whatever, right? This is the approach you take, and it's very similar to what Donald Trump teaches us as well. So I thought maybe if you guys heard it from someone other than me and maybe other than Trump, it helps.
Excuse me, sir. Question for you. How old were you when you made your first million?
39.
39? How old are you now?
40.
So you made it this last year?
Made a lot of millions in the last year.
What line of business?
I'm a spine surgeon.
Actually. So real quick, right here. You said you made a lot of millions last year. What happened this last year as opposed to all the other? Did you sell your practice or what
Started my own practice.
When you took that leap is when it happened.
Correct.
Yeah, somebody who made a lot of millions in the last year, what are you doing to preserve that kind of money? Because they say that it's easy to make a lot of money. It's hard to keep a lot of money.
Being better than I was yesterday. Ernest Hemingway said there's nothing noble about being superior to your fellow men. True nobility is being superior to your former self.
Let me ask this real quick. A lot of people, they go to medical school, they come out with shiny object syndrome because they were in school for so long. What's the lesson about business you could give to a medical professional when they're starting out?
Always plan for the future, because today's sunshine will turn into tomorrow's rain. You may be wealthy today, you may lose everything tomorrow. And the other thing I would tell to everybody, I have had everything I've ever dreamed of. It doesn't make you happy. Happiness is a pursuit of your dream, pursuit of your mission, your purpose.
How are you getting all your clients? What's your secret to selling?
I don't sell, my product sells. So
Right.
I take care of people, I care about people, and people know that.
So you're delivering equal or greater value for the...
You gotta ask the patients that.
So what are you doing on Wall Street?
My office is right there.
Do you have some pretty wealthy clients?
I don't ask about that. Everybody's on the same playing field. Just like I am. I'm here, there's a homeless guy there. I'm not any better than anybody else.
So what was the best advice you ever got throughout your career? Best advice you ever received that changed your life?
Don't ever give up.
Is that why a lot of people fail? Is that they just give up too soon?
I believe anything that's good is worth fighting for, and that journey is always hard. The view from a mountaintop is beautiful only because you took the effort to climb it.
You got amazing advice, my friend.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
It's the problem with Ozempic. It's the reason why we've got one of the largest problems in this nation ever is the laziness. The fact that nobody wants to do anything with effort. Nobody wants to expend the effort, yet it's the actual effort that creates the reward. The reward is absent minus the effort. It can't exist. It's impossible. You'll have the fleeting feeling of that victory, but it will dissolve into something significantly different. It's just one of the biggest lessons right now. I can't even tell you. And this was just really followed through with the same concept. Time is the only currency you spend without ever knowing your balance. Use it wisely. And again, a lot of us, I believe, are here right now for this reason, for this point in time, especially my audience. You're here right now to make a difference in what's going on. You. However that is. However that is. Be it as simply as just discussions, or even first off, be it as simply as just hitting the thumbs up on Dan's videos. Please do that if you haven't already. Please subscribe as well if you haven't done that already. Two easiest things that cost you $0 and makes lots of sense. But time is short. We are here for a very important purpose. We are playing such a large role in what's happening and how it's unfolding. That's the key. There's all sorts of people telling us doom and gloom, telling us this and that, and they've been telling us doom and gloom, and we've gotten past many, many, many parts of the doom and gloom without the doom and gloom. Because I think of what we're doing, we're actually affecting the outcomes. You don't have to choose the path that they're trying to get us to choose. We can actually have a glorious path. And I think that is a big part of certainly what Trump's trying to do as well. So be cautious how you use your time. It's very important. All right, whole crap ton of people are getting swatted. I don't have them all up there, but apparently Cat Turd got swatted. We also had Nick Sorter got swatted as well. Wasn't anyone like Marjorie Taylor Greene yet today. There's a lot of content creators, basically, or people in Twitch or Twitter or X or whatever the shit. Walter Kurt is another one. Don't really know who some of these people are, but that's another one. Now, this is where FBI Kash Patel came out and said, look, he goes, I want to address something. The alarming rise in swatting incidents targeting media figures. The FBI is aware of this dangerous trend, and my team and I are already taking action to investigate and hold those responsible accountable. It isn't about politics. Weaponizing law enforcement against any Americans is not only morally reprehensible, but also endangers lives, including those of our officers. That will not be tolerated. We are fully committed to working with local law enforcement to crack down on these crimes. More updates to come. So at least we finally got somebody that is trying to actually help us out. That's interesting. Matt Gaetz posted this, and I found it to be interesting, though Matt Gaetz is kind of, I don't know. It's funny is he was kind of buddy-buddy with Thomas Massey there a little bit, and he sort of pulled back a wee bit, but he's also one of the people I kind of put in that category a little bit. Whatever the case was, I honestly think we averted disaster by him stepping away from everything. And, you know, he can be where he's at and do a beautiful job at it. Maybe that's just a better role for where he's at in this world and in the pecking order, if you will. But nonetheless, Matt Gaetz pushes out because he's still got name recognition, to say the least. He said, someone convinced me that a shutdown doesn't just give Trump and Elon Musk the ability to put Doge into overdrive. And when lawsuits are filed, tough shit, things get shut down in a shutdown. And he's right. And so that was the thing all along. I was saying it yesterday, and I was like, I feel like we're tricking these guys. And I kind of think, because Schumer, he turned the boat around. But he was definitely walking down the shutdown path. And someone helped him pull his head out of his own ass, I guess. As much as I dislike letting this guy speak, here's him, Schumer, speaking about this situation. Yes, he puts his spin on it. Yes, he's speaking to his constituents or his Democrat people, right? But ultimately, we got to read between the lines and understand we won. We won. They threatened to shut down, but the problem was this time it would have been their fault. And we'd already demonstrated how they were vastly against that and all this nonsense. And here's the thing. Everybody on their side of the fence, well, a lot of people on their side of the fence are seeing this. I've even got a little snippet from Charlemagne Dagod, who I just whatever. Don't even get me started. I'm not affiliated with that company anymore. That's one good thing. I can talk about these guys a little more freely and not get in trouble. With that said, yeah, we've got a bit in this section here where we won the war when it came to the continuing resolution. We got it kicked down the road far enough, which is good. It gives Trump enough time, and the Democrats weren't able to win the day.
Now, over the last 2 months, the United States has confronted a very bitter truth. The federal government has been taken over by a nihilist. Donald Trump, in 2 months, has taken a blowtorch to our country and wielded chaos like a weapon. Republicans in Congress, meanwhile, have caved to his every whim. The grand old party has devolved into a crowd of Trump sycophants and MAGA radicals who want to burn everything to the ground. Look no further than what Doge is doing. Now Republicans' nihilism has brought us to the brink of disaster. Unless Congress acts, the federal government will shut down tomorrow at midnight. I have said many times there are no winners in a government shutdown, but there are certainly victims, the most vulnerable Americans who rely on federal programs to feed their families, to access medical care, and to stay financially afloat. Communities that depend on government services to function will suffer, and suffer greatly. This week, Democrats offered a sensible way out. Fund the government for another month to give appropriators more time to do their jobs. Republicans rejected this proposal outright. Why did they reject it? Because Donald Trump doesn't want the appropriators to do their job. He wants full control over government spending. He isn't the first president to want this, but he's the first president to cower his party into submission, so that Republican rejection leads us to a decision. That Republican rejection leads us to a decision. And it's not really a decision, it's a Hobson's choice. Either proceed with the bill before us or risk Donald Trump throwing America into the chaos of a shutdown. This, in my view, is no choice at all. While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. For sure, the Republican bill is a terrible option. It is not a clean CR. It is deeply partisan. It doesn't address far too many of this country's needs. But I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
Checkmate, bitches. That's right. That's right, Chucky. Chucky boy. I think we actually won this one. It feels like from the first times. Here's Charlemagne da God, kind of pissed off at his party.
The party of inaction, the Democrats have failed to protect the interests of the American people. And you know why, Dems suck at messaging? Because they never talking about nothing. And they do nothing. So guess what? To me, they all got to go. Like Dems don't just have a messaging problem, they got a leadership problem. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, they should all step down. And any Dem who isn't fighting for the people and standing with the party should be primary. Like, how can you say the bill sucks, but you're passing it anyway? Like, you're not going to even try to, present something different? Right. Try to negotiate? Nothing? It sucks, but we're going to pass it anyway.
Yeah, that's been the commentary. Basically, I think a lot of the world agrees with you on that, because it just seems as though the Democrats can't come together on anything.
Nothing.
So,
ever.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Nope.
So what's the point of voting for them? Like, literally.
Well,
the party.
The lady's kind of uncomfortable. She's like, you don't mean that, right? Please say you don't mean that. Charlemagne da God. Now, just something to point out. I was going to put this at the end of the story. It's usually where I put dead people, and I feel bad for this guy and his family. So my prayers and heart goes out to the families, the family of this gentleman, Rep. Raul Grijalva. He was a Democrat from Arizona. He's just died. I don't know. I don't know if he looks like he was a big boy. So I'm not going to say he was probably overtly healthy, but I don't know what happened. But what is interesting about this, and why I bring it up here, and again, my heart and prayer go out to his family. It's very unfortunate. It's a Democrat, though, and it is in Congress, and just sort of some implications around that. But this is kind of weird. General Flynn posted this. Once again, we see this. All the Congress people put out the exact same message. I'm ready to vote now, tomorrow, or anytime to pass a 4-week extension. Blah, blah, blah. So this was the direction they were trying to push. Like when Charlemagne was saying they didn't even offer anything else. They didn't even fight it. Well, this was, I guess, their offer. And all of them sharing it on their Twitter page verbatim, which is kind of, this is probably just right after it got put out, though whoever this was, Robert Garcia, he had probably the most views. Good job, buddy. But yeah, they all put out the exact same funny thing. But here's kind of the weird part. And Salty Goat is where I, saw this. I mean, it makes sense. I didn't even think. I had the story way over here, and this was happening over here, and I'm like, whoa, we got to bring these worlds together. Salty Goat's like, how is it that Raul M. Grijalva posted this tweet? He was dead at the time. And I'm not being hyperbolic. He was actually dead skis at the time. How did he manage to post the exact same thing? Now, I said this yesterday, I think, or the day before. Like, it's dumb. It's an automated thing. They're doing this with the service. They've given access to their accounts to somebody to help do this kind of crap, so they're taking advantage of it. I can't wait till somebody gets a hold of that and then starts putting crazy shit out there. They're going to be like, my account was hacked. It's like, really? Because all 70 of you just posted the same thing. I don't understand how your account could be hacked. I mean, did all 70 of you get hacked? That'd be weird, right? Could happen. I mean, it's kind of illegal, so hopefully it doesn't, I guess. Donald Trump trooped this out. Congratulations to Chuck Schumer for doing the right thing. Took guts and courage. He's just so poking him. The big tax cuts, LA fire fix, debt ceiling bill, and so much more is coming. We should all work together on that very dangerous situation. A non-pass would be a country destroyer. Approval will lead us to new heights. Again, really good and smart move by Senator Schumer. This could lead to something big for the USA, a whole new direction and beginning, says Donald J. Trump. Now, of course, he's, I think, trying to extend an olive branch to Schumer, but at the same time, I think he's maybe kicking him while he's down as well. Want to remind you guys of a company I haven't talked about in a while, frankly. I still got a couple of people that have some auto orders, and I'm like, and then I popped on the page, and I'm like, dang, they got some new products even, which is super cool. And you guys know I'm kind of into the health thing. I'm kind of into ways to help promote youth and longevity, ways to help promote getting out of the deep state system. So these are kinds of the things I generally gravitate towards when it comes to Energy Tech, the battery company, right? I love them. It's a great way to protect your house when the power goes out. Like, I'm kind of into that sort of stuff. And the Root brands are a great company. They, again, great products. It's kind of, I think they were sort of a small affiliation with Healthy Home, by the way. That's certainly how I found Healthy Home, was through a mutual friend with this particular brand of products. Restore was a really good product I love. Supports bone health, supports gut, your healthy gut, supports healthy blood pressure. It's antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits. Like, it's just delicious, too. This was really, really yummy. The one I really, really like was the Zero In, which I'm still taking the nitric oxide. I love it, and I take that before I work out. But the Zero In, today I've got a potentially long day. We'll see. I don't know if my boy Alpha is going to be coming through or not. I've texted him. We'll find out if the synchronicity show is going down or not. But whatever the case is, hopefully it does. But Zero In's a great way to just, I don't know, if you got to focus on a long project, if you got a thing you got to do where it just requires just constantly staring at a computer screen or something to that effect, Zero In helps a lot. There is a teeny bit of caffeine in it, but it's got a whole bunch of other good stuff in there that really, really helps promote just clear thinking. It's very awesome. Also, Clean Slate's another bitchin' product that helps get all the nasties out of your system. And you'll notice when you start using it, it's kind of like, and not everybody, but most everybody, when they eat asparagus, you sort of notice that you did. Clean Slate has the same funky effect on your body, if you know what I mean. You know it's working. It's actually pretty awesome. It's just a liquid, few drops on the tongue. It's kind of a bitter, salty, but it makes a huge difference. And you do that a couple times a day, and you're actually going to notice a lot of the nasties have been released from your body. We've got this new product here called Sculpt. It assists in healthy weight loss. It helps with appetite suppression, supports healthy glucose levels, and fatty acid breakdown. It's probably got a little bit of a kick to it, too. Usually a lot of these do, especially if they're helping with your appetite. But for any of you guys that are maybe looking for some help on the weight loss, I would highly recommend getting the Sculpt. Right? Sculpt is a good product. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. The one I'm going to order today after I'm done recording is this one. This is the one I was like, Crush. What's Crush? And I started looking at it, and it aids in muscle protein synthesis. Contains 7 of the 9 essential amino acids among with HMB, I think. Along with HMB, I eat a lot of meat, so I'm probably covered on the other 2, I hope. Promotes healthy muscle development, supports immune health, and reduces inflammation. Bam. Like this, coupled with the Healthy Home, the STEM Active, oh man, I am going to be living large. I'm stoked. I mean, almost no pun intended. I've been noticing some gains. I'm not going hard at the gym, but I'm consistent and I'm doing good, and I'm focusing more on the quality of the workout rather than the number of reps or how much weight or any of that kind of nonsense. And I'm actually noticing a difference. And Crush is one I'm excited to get involved with. Give Me Back My Youth is another good one, where it's literally just got all sorts of support to help aging and help us get through that. Relive Greens, just a whole bunch of nutrient support stuff going on in there. Immune defense sealed, natural barrier support. They've got ways you can get packs together and all sorts of stuff. Clean Spirits is actually related to alcohol and you had a really hard night last night and you got a tough day tomorrow. This is stuff's actually used it. It's pretty awesome. Clean Spirits, it actually helps you kind of work through that one. So something to get check into. And I'm going to have to look into this one, 3-step peptide pack. I'm going to look into that. I'll get back to you guys. My girlfriend might even like that. So I got to order a couple things from this lovely company. Yeah, and their facelift stuff, that works really well. Like there's a few of these products I've used and they're really good. I suck really bad about doing lotions and crap on my face. I should. I mean, you'd think I would care about my face being someone that's on the air. I like the radio side of things more, so I have a face for radio. That's the truth of it. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. A bunch of awesome products. Highly recommend it. And this they sell all over the world. Britain's even got, like in Europe, there's you can buy it in Europe and stuff. So yeah, it's also fun from that standpoint. It's also one that I advertise sort of on my my Dan Radio Style channel. All right, all set. Let's get into some more of the crazy that's going on. This is fantastic. Press Secretary Leavitt unveils a strategy to counter the judicial activists stonewalling President Trump. This is very cool. Things are moving in the right direction and moving very quickly. We got to understand, this is happening at no longer government speed. This is like government speed times 10, right? I mean, you got to acknowledge that. Things used to go stupid slow. Now they're not.
District court rulings about all the fired probationary workers. You used the same language here just now that was in the statement about fighting back against that ruling. Do you mean appealing or something else? And does the administration plan to comply with those orders in the meantime?
Fighting back by appealing, fighting back by using the full weight of the White House counsel's office and our lawyers at the federal government who believe that this injunction is entirely unconstitutional. And it is, for anybody who has a basic understanding of the law. You cannot have a low-level district court judge filing an injunction to usurp the executive authority of the President of the United States. That is completely absurd. And as the executive of the executive branch, the President has the ability to fire or hire. And you have these lower level judges who are trying to block this president's agenda. It's very clear. And as I just cited, I was appalled by the statistic when I saw it this morning. In 1 month, in February, there have been 15 injunctions of this administration in our agenda. In 3 years under the Biden administration, there were 14 injunctions. So it's very clear that there are judicial activists throughout our judicial branch who are trying to block this president's executive authority. We are going to fight back. And as anyone who saw President Trump and his legal team fighting back, they know how to do it. He was indicted nearly 200 times, and he's in the Oval Office now because all of the indictments, all of these injunctions have always been unconstitutional and unfair. They are led by partisan activists who are trying to usurp the will of this president, and we're not going to stand for it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so they're going to do everything they can to get this under control. Now, the statistic they give, 15 injunctions on this administration, and there were only 14 injunctions across the board, across an entire 3 years of Biden administration. Now, one thing to keep in mind, of the 15 injunctions, there's 3 of them, like example, and I think there's a few of these that are multiplied, but one in particular, the having babies here, that one, the anchor baby one, whatever it was called, that has 3 different judges, 3 different injunctions for one thing. So, of the 15, right, that's really, 13, because you don't need to triple it, but it is. So, and not to try to take away from what she's saying, but I also wanted to point out just one other really side note that hit me while she was talking. Trump had to fight the deep state, and fight the government with his own money, his own power, his own wealth, his own fame, all that, right? Now, he has the power of the government behind him to fight the deep state, and he stopped funding the deep state. Trump has them by the short and curlies. They're going to get pissed. They're going to freak out, but he's got them. So Trump asked the Supreme Court to curb judges' power to block policies nationwide. He is doing an emergency appeal. I'm curious if this is going to make it all the way up to the Supreme, well, if they're going to take it. And the main reason I say that, and you legal scholars maybe throw some comments in the section down there, down below, but I wonder, are they going to be able to stop Trump? Well, I'm sorry, let's put it this way. Is it worded in such a way, is this particular case in such a way that this is the one that they can actually show that the executive branch has the power to do many and most of these things, or are they going to have to literally look at each individual EO? And so I'm wondering if that's part of it. I think that's where my hesitance is, if you will, is if, like Clarence Thomas has said this before about certain things, like this isn't the best case to bring this problem forward. And maybe which one is. Now, the Anchor Baby one's very interesting, for sure. There it is, birthright citizenship. That's tomato. But lower court judges issued 15 nationwide blocks of Trump's administration. Again, that wonderful statistic. Now, just to put a little perspective on it, I like to try to stay in the realm of, all right, let's just, it was something I learned in physics in college, right? They always said one of the first things you did when you got an answer was, does that answer make sense, right? You just said the speed you'd have to be traveling was, 600,000 meters per second. And you're looking at it and you're going, that's like 2 times the speed of light. I probably made a mistake somewhere, right? Is that answer reasonable? And that's been very helpful because sometimes a decimal point gets shifted. Sometimes you're like, I think I'm using the wrong formula, right? It was just one of the things you stumbled through to figure things out. So Joseph Biden, in 2025, in his 1+ month, he had 13 executive orders. He did a bunch at the end. But in all of 2024, he had 19 executive orders in 2024. 2023, he had 24. Executive orders. 2022, he had only 29 executive orders. His first year, he went hog butt hell wild and did 77 in 1 year. Donald Trump, at this point, and I think per this thing here, it was March 7th was the most updated. I think there's been a couple extra ERs since, so I'm going to add a couple just for the sake of shits and giggles. But in 2025, Donald Trump has had about 91 plus executive orders. Biden's first year, he did 77. Trump's already done 91, and he's only been in office not even 2 months yet. Almost 2 months. And he's done more than Biden did in the year he did the most. So Trump having a higher number coming after him, just injunctions and stuff, kind of makes sense too from the standpoint of he's got an enormous number of executive orders. Now, to me, again, some of this indicates, one, how broken Congress is, how broken it is, but two, how I think we're in very different governmental waters. I very much think we're in this transition, be it between constitutions, between bankruptcy, between getting us unsigned from England, or whatever the hell it actually is, or all the above. Getting us from under the thumb of the deep state, essentially. We're in different waters that aren't being announced publicly. There's definitely way crazy wars going on behind the scenes that none of us know about. None of us see. Some of us speculate about. Most of us probably don't even come close to speculating about a lot of what's actually happening. Secret U.S. This is Daily Mail just being stupid. I had to call it out, though it is interesting this is happening, so I'm bringing up the story for that reason. It used an interesting diversion, I feel. And that's where it caught my attention. I was like, why are they doing that? And then I'm like, well, what they're saying is stupid. Look, here's the thing. I'm going to pretend I know a little bit about planes only because I've decades playing simulators. Okay, anybody in the Air Force and all that, you guys, you know that the technology is always better and different than what they put in video games, but you guys also realize video games are kind of what you guys use to train people too. So there's a great deal of realism baked into these things, but not to the full level of what missiles can actually do or what stealth actually is like. There's just a lot of stuff where they kind of guess. But as far as planes, characteristics, the way they sort of handle and different components of your command and control during any sort of air offensive, the E-3B Sentry, kind of usually called AWACS just for I think it covers a lot. I mean, the ones you have on carriers is that smaller little twin prop, drawing a blank on what plane it is, but it's got the same dish at the top. Now, they're calling it Secret U.S. Spy Plane. This isn't the sniffer plane. This isn't the one that they go up to, the Doomsday plane. No, this is literally an AWACS. Now, I'm not going to say there's not stuff on here that I'm unaware of. I'm sure there's technologies that this thing can do that are pretty impressive, but ultimately it's a plane that's capable of carrying a giant radar dome, and the higher up it goes, by the way, for all you flat earthers, oddly, the higher it goes, the more distance it can see. You'd think it wouldn't matter if the earth was flat, but it seems to, and you guys can confirm that have been in Air Force, but yeah, the higher you go, the further your range is to a point. I don't know if this thing's got a max range, but whatever. It can see really far, and it's somewhat directional, I think. All stated, this thing made a trip from Oklahoma and flew all the way over to Raleigh, just, North Carolina, east coast of North Carolina. Now, what the story is positing is that this is a UFO hotspot. Probably true. There's probably all sorts of crazy shit out there. There's probably some bases around there. Probably some of the stuff that was coming off the coast, and that's kind of my guess, by the way, is that this is reasonably close, where the underwater bases for the drones are. But let's not get too far off track. But what they're saying is it's like, yeah, it flew out there, and then it flew over this area over and over. And it was doing that because it was obviously trying to figure out what's happening there. That's stupid, okay? None of our shit needs to fly right over it unless it's like that sniffer, which is a helicopter, for crying out loud. Most of our technology, Doomsday plane and all that crazy shit, dude, it's like mild. They're meant to fly off the coast of countries and gather and glean stuff. They don't need to fly right the F over it. No, that's stupid. So the implication that it flew over this site was because of UFO activity. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's not what's up. Sure, there's a bunch of cool stuff that's been there, and I bet a bunch of people ran with this story for that reason, and they probably look, sillier to most. But what this is a general pattern. And when you send an AWACS out to protect, you send it out in a circular pattern. It flies circles. That's all it does. Pilots got to hate their jobs, hate their life, right? They're like, I love takeoffs and landings, but I hate my job, right? And it just flies in circles. They probably autopilot it, I'm assuming. And all that's meant to do is offer radar protection. Now, here's the thing. This means we're putting, depending on what altitude it's flying at, first off, we want everybody to know it's there because we're actually leaving it on the flight tracker. That's a key thing. Anything that's legit that they don't want anybody to know about, flight track radar or flight tracker doesn't have that flight. They don't show those flights. So anytime anybody's like, see, it's there. Oh, cool. That means they want you to know it's there. So they want everybody to know that we are guarding our coast and probably well out to over 1,000+ miles using this technology. Now, sure, we're covering the own United States, but I doubt we care about that, and they've probably got filters that shut off a lot of that. But they are definitely looking way out here. Maybe down in Cuba, possible. Maybe the Bahamas, possible. Maybe China's got something going on out here, possible. Maybe Russia, but who knows? Something's up. They're obviously showing everybody, we're watching you. Stop it. So we'll see. We'll see. This is not what a lot of people are spinning it to be, and it's definitely an important thing, though. Definitely important that we notice that that's happening. We had another fire, engine fire again. American Airlines 737 this time. I don't even know. I don't know if they tell us in the story per se. Now again, engines are maintained by the company. Engines are not built by Boeing. Boeing doesn't build engines on airplanes. That's not their job. I think it's Pratt & Whitney. I know Rolls-Royce, but I think Pratt & Whitney still does the other ones, unless something crazy's changed, but I believe they're the ones that still make the majority. General Electric, probably, maybe. One of the, if not those three. But, yeah. So, an engine caught fire. That's maintenance. That's something didn't happen. And why? I don't know. Is there something going on? Is there weird parts that we've been getting from China that are failing? There's a lot of possibilities here. My guess is maintenance is not getting the attention it should or once was. We'll see. Julian Assange posted this, and this is just a bitchin' post. I want to read it. It's a little long, but it's, I think, worth it. So Thursday, 13th March 2025. That's how those crazy people do it everywhere other than here in the United States. They do the dates differently. The quantum financial system. I don't necessarily big QFS fan, but he's saying it's been operating behind the scenes. This is... All right, sorry. I missed that first paragraph. That's bullshit. It's not Julian Assange's channel. President Donald Trump is set to visit the Justice Department on Friday to rally support for his administration's tough-on-crime agenda. An appearance expected to double as a victory lap after he emerged legally and politically unscathed after 2 federal prosecutions that were dismissed to win this last fall. Here's the thing. He's going out there supposedly to set out his vision for the Department of Justice, how we're literally going to go after... We're going to hold people accountable. What it comes down to. 100% sure that's what most of that conversation is going to be about. Trump is talking about invoking the potentially invoking Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to carry out deportations to Guantanamo. Whole lot of discussion around this concept. What this concept has to do with is if he's at war with a particular country or group, then we can literally take those people and export them back to their countries, like get them the hell out. Like, you can't be here. We did this, obviously, World War I and II specifically with the Japanese internment camps as one of the black marks or black eyes that this country has received, but it was tied into that act. It's been used 3 times, to my understanding, and it was used extensively. It was used past the date where the war ended. It, extended an extra couple years. They did that both World War I and World War II. So, again, a lot of little tidbits of info. Anything over 14 years of age, too, it says specifically in the 27-year-old law. And it says, gives the president the extraordinary power to order the arrest, detention, and deportation of non-citizens who are 14 years or older and come from countries staging an invasion or predatory incursion of the U.S., which is, one could say, majorly what's happening. And when you look at the number of South American countries that are flooding here, it would be really easy to label many of those as such, in which case it would give us extraordinary powers to deport anybody. Now, again, I've got people that are close to me that I know are illegal, and I know they're scared big time. And there's a part of me that's like, good. Now, they're hardworking, they're doing great work. I think, at least the housekeeper, I pay well, I tip well, I'm nice, I understand, I work public service and have all my life. Like, I get it. So I try to be good to people, always. And I got a small number of places, too, so I just try to keep my little circle small, and I treat the people very well. They always remember me, and we're always cool, and it's just good. It's just a good win-win-win for everybody, right? But, again, that's different. Those people stay under the radar, and they probably will. It's the people that are criminals, the people that are committing crime, the people that keep doing things they shouldn't be, and they're already here illegally anyway. It's like, it's like 3 strikes, you're out. So this is a possibility that this is going to be used. FBI's newly launched interagency task force in Virginia made 214 arrests in a 2-week blitz since its inception. This is just one area, by the way. I know many of us think the same way. I'm there with you. I was like, 214, are you crapping me? But, I mean, yeah, there's thousands and thousands of really, really bad people. We're getting them. There's been a few of these different kinds of things happening across the country, generally in cities that are places that are sort of not sanctuary, and we're not fighting those fights. But this is going to cause a lot of people to start to flood to some places, too, which is going to make the roundup easier. I think we've all talked about how that was going to happen. So, yeah, this is the actual bill or whatever. This, what are they calling it? Restraint and regulation. Wherever there's a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, or invasion or predatory incursion is perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government, and the president makes public proclamation of the events, all natives, citizens, denizens, and subjects of the hostile nation or government, being of the age of 14 years and upward, who shall be within the United States and not actually neutralized, shall be liable to be apprehended, restrained, secured, and removed as alien enemies. The president is authorized in any such event by his proclamation thereof, which he's done already. He already declared war against much of this, or can declare it further if it necessarily is required, right? We'll see. Two judges in mass firing cases order Trump administration to rehire probationary workers for now. Again, whether they keep paying them is fine, but hiring them back, I don't know, whatever. We'll see how this all plays out. I still have not seen any confirmation from that story I shared yesterday that I thought was fake, and I think it is fake. But maybe that'll happen. But I don't know. Trump could do it through an executive order as far as telling all the courts, F you until the Supreme Court hears these cases. We're going to just ignore everything you're saying right now because you're literally trying to stop the executive branch from handling affairs, and you can't do that. That's an overreach on your part, and we're not going to follow it. So there's going to be this funny little thing. And they can't arrest the president. That's already been dealt with by the Supreme Court. That was very strategic. A lot of people are like, why hasn't the Supreme Court done more? That was key. Basically saying the president, while doing his duties, is immune from prosecution. Done. They didn't have to do a whole lot of other stuff. Trump is taking care of business, or like Kash Patel, kicking down doors in his own way. Yeah, this is huge. Yeah, and they're going, Trump dialed in his auto pen rules because there's a whole lot of stuff coming around Biden. I think I've got another story coming up here in a bit. We found another auto pen signature that was being utilized often. So President Trump's White House, they have set up far more restrictive rules. A document obtained by the Post outlines the narrow set of circumstances in which Trump's signature can be affixed to documents following controversy this week kicked off by a Heritage Foundation analysis of Biden's signatures on various records, including last-minute pardons. A small group of officials under both Biden and Trump have been delegated the power to get documents signed robotically, but 82-year-old Biden's perceived cognitive decline has sparked debate about whether some aides may have assumed his wishes in his final stretch as commander-in-chief. One Biden White House source told the Post they suspect that a key aide to the then president may have made unilateral determinations on what to auto-sign. The Post is not publishing that staffer's name due to lack of concrete evidence. Oh, so at least they're being somewhat honest. Anna Paulina Luna escalates DOJ's standoff over Epstein docs, unveils the Shred Act. So any of these companies trying to shred documents or anybody trying to shred information, this is going to go back to, was it the Enron case? Isn't that where a lot of that stuff happened? But they're going to make a law where essentially if you do that, it now would levy a mandatory sentence of 20 years to life if you're caught shredding stuff that is going to be used in or is criminal or shows that you've committed crimes and you are destroying it. Yeah, 20 years to life. That's a law that Anna Paulina Luna is trying to put into place. I think that's an interesting idea. GOP lawmaker calls for FBI investigation into alarming allegations against top Dem fundraising platform. They're actually trying to get the ball rolling on our good friends over there at Act Blue. Rep. Andy Biggs, Republican Arizona, sent a letter to the Federal Bureau of Investigation calling for an investigation into Act Blue. In 2024, the President Biden's Treasury Department found hundreds of suspicious transactions with Act Blue reported by banks. The U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and the Committee on House Administration have been investigating these allegations of misconduct, but the previous administration has stalled access to the necessary documents. This week, Oversight Chairman Comer and Administration Chairman Stiles have renewed their request with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. The letter cited Republican concerns that Act Blue's verification policies could potentially allow foreign actors in countries like China, Venezuela, and Russia to influence elections with straw donations. This is the other secondary Biden signature that they've found. So we're going to see this signature here and this signature here. And you're going to notice there's actually some significant differences between these two signatures that were used often all over the place. Look at this. Right? They are different. Not quite the same signature. Big difference on those last L's. So, yeah, exactly what's happening, we don't know, but it looks like people were taking advantage of Biden's retardation. And I use that appropriately. Pentagon leaker pleads guilty to obstructing justice. This guy tries to, this is that Jack Teixeira guy, the young kid, Air National Guard that was giving away secrets. And he got all like noble. He's like, if I saved one American's life, then it was worth it. And here's the other side of it, buddy. If you put one American's life in danger, now you just undid everything you're trying to do there, big guy, right? I wonder how many people you put in danger by trying to put this to the good. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was that he was sharing. I don't even know how much of it they actually told us. Obviously, they're not going to tell us the top secret crap, but yeah, I don't think it's okay to be sharing. He was doing it on a Discord chat room, which was sort of a secure site, kind of. I would never assume any site's totally secure, by the way. If you assume it's secure, it's probably not. So whatever. Military wanted to send a message. They wanted to make sure this dude got just slammed. He got dishonorable discharge, of course, and he's going to be in jail for a very, very, very long time. Rep. Brandon Gill proposes stopping Chinese and foreign adversaries from buying American farmland. That's a pretty fantastic idea, right? If foreign countries prohibit Americans from purchasing land in their country, we should do the same to them. I agree. This is one of the things we definitely have to stop, and we're going to have to take back. I don't want to just say, like, Chinese people can't buy land. No. If you're CCP affiliated and you're here, unfortunately, unless you've renounced your CCP-ness, I would say no, man. Sorry. I love you, Chinese person, but not if you're Communist Chinese Party. Nope. Sorry, because you're not under your own control. You're under their control, and I can't have that. That's not okay. CARE, California. They're under fire. Now, the main thing I'm sharing this for is because this is a micro example of where all this USAID money goes. So all these little grants are like $1 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $100 million, whatever. A lot of us are like, it's not that much money. It adds up, first off. There's hundreds of these examples. And here is exactly how each one of those examples plays. A watchdog group has filed a formal complaint with the DOJ, alleging that CARE California mismanaged over $7.2 million in federal funds meant for immigrant resettlement between 2022 and 2024. Instead of properly allocating the money, CARE allegedly funneled it to CARE Los Angeles. Remember the mayor of Los Angeles, how much trouble she's in right now? $7.2 million was funneled illegally, or allegedly, I should say, to CARE Los Angeles, which is not a registered nonprofit and therefore ineligible to receive such funds. The complaint, filed by the Intelligent Advocacy Network, claims CARE California may have illegally redirected funds on unregistered entities with little to no financial transparency. This raises major concerns about potential fraud and misuse of taxpayer dollars. Even more alarming, CARE has a long history of alleged ties to Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. Just recently, CARE's national chapter settled a lawsuit to avoid disclosing its foreign funding sources, further fueling concerns about its financial practices and potential international influence. IAN is now calling for a full federal investigation and forensic audit into CARE California's activities. The big question remains, where did the $7 million go? Or who in CARE Los Angeles got that money? Who wants to bet it was the mayor? I bet the mayor got a chunk of it. I'm guessing. I'm alleging. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying that's true. We'll find out. That's my guess. That's my guess right now. We'll see who it actually was. It could be fun. All right, improve. That's what this was. USPS signs agreement with Doge after moving to cut 10,000 workers. Broken business model. I love it. Postal service is a mess. So, yeah, there's got to be a billion ways to fix this. First thing I would really honestly do if I was any of these people would be like, all right, here's the thing. We're going to get the head of FedEx, the head of Amazon, or the people that are ahead of the factory part where they sort everything, right? We get them, because I worked at a UPS facility for a period of time, too. It was impressive, and this was years ago when I did it. But get those people, the logistics people, from those companies, have them come and look at how USPS processes at a processing center and be like, oh, Lord, you guys suck. And I would say within a very short period of time, we would have a far more efficient system rather than trusting government workers to come up with a faster way to do something, because that's a job cut. They'd lose a head count. And again, they don't ever want their budgets to shrink. See, there's no incentive baked into the way government operates, and this is why so many people are dicks about it. But fact is, we're changing it. It needs to be changed. It needs to be thinned down. It's fantastic that we're doing this. Director of the FDA commissioner is going to start a process of changing the rules to eliminate the self-affirmed GRAS pathway. This has to do with new ingredients. This is pretty awesome what Kennedy is doing. I never really appreciated what he was going to do until he started doing it. He talked a lot of talk, but he had to be careful how he phrased things. Now he doesn't. Now he's the government saying this. They can't censor people sharing what he's doing. They want to, but they kind of can't. Because then they're censoring the government. And then, that's not going to go over well at all. Would it? No. So Kennedy's now able to say things that he never could before. And he's going after, I think, the right people.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm the Secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services. In the final months of the election, President Trump repeatedly called for removing toxins from our food supply. He added his voice to the millions of Maha moms who were touting the Make America Healthy Again agenda. The first step is radical transparency because right now, not even the U.S. government knows what's in our food. In 1958, the government created a designation called Generally Recognized as Safe, or GRAS, so that we can make common ingredients like salt and baking soda exempt from testing. But today, it isn't just salt and baking soda. Food companies and cooperative regulators have enlarged the GRAS exemption so that these companies can decide for themselves whether a substance is generally recognized as safe. No FDA approval is needed. European nations, on the other hand, require that a chemical be proven safe before it becomes a food ingredient. In our country, the GRAS standard means that every chemical is presumed safe until proven dangerous, and that proof might not happen until millions of Americans are sick with chronic disease. This mass experiment on the American population with GRAS has, in short, been a catastrophe. We now have around 10,000 chemicals in our food, while Europe has only 400. For example, titanium dioxide, potentially linked to DNA damage and cancer, is banned in the EU, but it's in our children's food. Potassium bromate, a suspected carcinogen, banned in Europe and Japan. And you guessed it, it's in our children's bread. Food dyes such as red dye 40 and yellow 5 and 6 come with warning labels in Europe. They're linked to behavioral issues in children, but in the U.S., they're generally recognized as safe. I can't really blame the food companies. They're just doing what we've allowed them to get away with in a system that's taken on a life of its own. We all agree now that it's time to change the system, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I am today directing the FDA commissioner to start the process of changing the rules to eliminate the self-affirming GRAS pathway for new ingredients. I'm also directing the FDA and NIH to ramp up post-market assessments of GRAS chemicals currently in our food so that we can rapidly identify the compounds that are making Americans so sick, and so that American consumers and regulators can make informed decisions. This issue isn't going away. Moms aren't going to return to wanting chemicals in our food that are banned in other developed countries. Even industry knows that we have to change. So I promise you, I'm going to work with all parties, the companies, the moms, the scientists, the consumer advocates, to make American food the healthiest in the world the way that it was when I was a child.
Now, one thing that's definitely going to happen, and you guys know it as well as I do, and I just want to call out one product. I want you guys to maybe type a product that you think is going to be affected, that you love. But I'm going to throw out mine. I think it's fiery Cheetos, right? Those super ridiculously fire Cheetos, whatever those are called, the scorchy ones or whatever. Even the extra crunchy, I tried those one time. Those are like, oh, damn, you made them even better. Guarantee that product's not going to be allowed anymore. Not that it's going to be illegal. I'm assuming they're going to have to label food first, and then secondly, it's going to go into other stuff. But yeah, that's that nuclear crap on those Cheetos. There's no damn way. Or the spicy Funyuns, right? Obviously, any of those, that spicy flavor, they put that on anything. There's no way that's going to be allowed. No way. Not in this soon-to-be healthy world. It's a bummer. We're going to lose some good stuff, I know. Johns Hopkins University on Thursday announced that it will be firing close to 2,000 workers globally because it lost $800 million in federal grants. 2,000 people, $800 million. Okay. Paying people decently. But yeah, they're firing people, mostly in other countries. But still, that's cool. They shouldn't have the money anyway. RFK Jr.'s daughter-in-law, Amaryllis? I don't know. Amaryllis? Let's say it's that. She was once the youngest spy at the CIA. Long story short, she's kind of going to be in charge of the budgeting of the 17 different intelligence agencies at the Office of, OMB? She's going to be basically handling the budgets for those agencies. She was one of the youngest ever, youngest lady to start the agency. And obviously, being a very attractive lady, I can only imagine what kind of crap she was involved with. But that's very interesting, tied to the Kennedys as well. More than 50 universities are being investigated for alleged racial discrimination as part of the Trump campaign to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that his officials say exclude white and Asian American students. The Education Department announced the new investigations Friday, 1 month after issuing a memo warning America's schools and colleges that they could lose federal money over race-based preferences in admissions, scholarships, or any aspect of student life. Most of the new inquiries are focused on colleges' partnership with the PhD Project. It's a nonprofit that helps students from underrepresented groups get degrees in businesses with the goal of diversifying the business world. Obviously, this is another one of those Soros-type companies that they're trying to shut down, which is good, I think. Dr. Mehmet Oz, he tried to run for president, didn't he? I think so, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Donald Trump's picking him to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medical Services. He's facing confirmation hearings today. We'll find out what happens. I think we still got, like I said, a couple people that need to get put into position. Elon Musk supposedly paid a visit to the National Security Agency. Main reason I'm trusting this Axios article on this is because this was confirmed by the press agency, basically, for the department. The NSA spokesperson told Axios that meeting with key advisors ensure we are aligned. So this came from a spokesperson at the NSA. When they're actually declaring who it was, they don't have to give us a name, but definitely the fact that it's somebody directly related. And then that way, if that's not actually true, then a story can come out saying, no, that's untrue. Nobody told them that. And in which case, we'll know Axios is now making up sources further than the unnamed and imaginary or whatever the words is they use all the time. But yes, they are going to be, getting rid of some people there too, thinning things down, also probably looking at their systems to some degree. Donald Trump, truth this, crooked Joe Biden got us into a real mess with Russia and everything else. But I'm going to get us out. Millions of people are needlessly dead, never to be seen again, and there will be many more to follow if we don't get that ceasefire and final agreement with Russia completed and signed. There would have been no war if I were president. Just 100%. If I were president, just 100% would not have happened. Likewise, there would have been no October 7th with Israel. The pullout from Afghanistan would have been done with strength and pride and would not have been the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. It could have been a moment of glory. Also, there would not have been any perceptible inflation. Instead, we had a record-setting, country-destroying inflation like we have never seen before. Most of that's because we were pumping gas and selling it. Also, we would have had an impenetrable border with very few illegals getting in. Oh, what a difference a rigged and crooked election had on our country. The people who did this to us should go to jail. God bless America and make America great again. The people will go to jail, and we know he talked to the DOJ today. I'm sure maybe there might have been some discussions around some of the crazy stuff that's going to have to happen, and likely some of the very high-profile people that are likely going to be arrested. Publicly, too. Donald Trump, truth this. We had a very good and productive discussion with President Vladimir Putin of Russia yesterday, and there's a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded by the Russian military and in a very bad and vulnerable position. I have strongly requested to President Putin that their lives be spared. This would be a horrible massacre, one not seen since World War II. God bless them all. And hopefully he's able to help with that. There's a last little bit of that eastern region of Ukraine, and then, I don't know if it's in the Donbass or whatever, Luhansk. I think it's in the Donbass area, but there's a small little snippet that Zelensky was able to get back, and it's tiny. We're talking like a few miles, but it's key. It's strategic. It was embarrassing to Russia, and this is the thing he wants to take back before the ceasefire happens. Again, Ukraine's not getting the land back, and Russia wants to make sure they got what they needed to get, and they got what should have happened, and essentially the whole point of their quote-unquote incursion would have been accomplished. And then we can let Ukraine kind of have their country back, get their elections underway, make sure everybody internationally makes sure it's safe and fair, and we'll get through that. We'll move through it. Iran, China, they call to end curbs after Tehran spurned Trump talks. So, I don't know. Trump's trying to do a nuclear deal with Iran. It's not going well. They like to get pallets of cash, and Trump's not about to do that. Russia and China are kind of buddying up with Iran because they have been. That's kind of what's been up. So they've got to sort of middleman this a little bit. This is kind of, like I've said, that multipolar world. Well, we've got the two other poles working with Iran to try to calm them down and figure out a way. Because Iran and the Ayatollah specifically cannot have nuclear weapons because they'll use them against people, period. That's a given. They've got no qualms about doing that. They've got no moral problem with it. It's just like, nope, we got the weapon, we'll use it. So we can't let that happen. So we'll see. United States and Israel are like, not a chance in hell. We'll do whatever we got to do. And China and Russia are like, hey, Iran, how you doing, man? Yeah, no, come on over. We'll have some kebabs and stuff. Got some delicious food. But, yeah, we need to talk. Trump admin slaps fresh sanctions on Iran's oil ministries and this shadow fleet. These are these boats that turn off their transponders and ship Iranian oil to a number of different countries, Venezuela being one of them. And so this is Trump's basically, any of these companies that own these ships are being sanctioned heavily. Trump's brought the sanctions back. He's no longer letting Iran have free reign like they have for a long time. Columbia University says it expelled some students who seized buildings last year. We don't know who. We don't know what. Some of them got suspended. Some of them got literally kicked out, expelled. But they're not given a list. I don't know if it's everybody. But this is not peaceful protest. This is not protest when you take over buildings or property. When you break things so you can break in, that is not a protest. I don't care how morally important your values are. Our side of the fence, it wasn't okay. Saw what happened on January 6th. This is the same thing as far as I'm concerned, except they do it in smaller scale all over the place. Their numbers are insane. BlackRock's Panama Canal deal isn't a sure bet. They're still working through this. This is those two ports. One at the start, one at the end. It depends how you look at it, so either way, it doesn't matter. Of the Panama Canal, right? The beginning, the end, the beginning. Maybe. They had a port there. China owns it still, technically. And China probably doesn't want to get rid of it. Let's be honest. But Trump is probably going to... What this comes down to is Panama's got a choice. It's like, you either manage this properly and get China the hell out of there, or we will take control of the Panama Canal, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We will do it. We'll just tell the world to fuck off. We don't care. We're doing this. We bought it. We made it. We died for it. We're taking it back. China's not having this port or this canal. Way too important to us. Nope. Sorry. That's it. So there's a lot of these types of things going on right now that everybody's like, you can't do that. And it's like, watch us. What are you going to do about it? And, we're not killing people to get it, and we built it to begin with, right? Maybe retard gave it to them for $1. Shouldn't have happened. Hamas agreed Friday to release Eden Alexander. He's the last living American hostage in captivity in the Gaza Strip, and supposedly the bodies of some others are supposed to be given back, so something that is to be rejoiced. This is interesting. Right here, especially for any of the people that are hardcore racists in my audience, which I expect there to be like 0 of you guys. Why, unless you're just people that watch my channel because you hate me and you're like the few that do the thumbs down. I don't know. For the 13 of you or whatever. This is the face of a slave owner. Not current slave owner. Well, was recently a slave owner. What? What you say? I know, it's hard to believe. UN judge, one-time Columbia University human rights fellow, found guilty of slavery. She was a UN judge convicted on Thursday of trafficking a young woman to the United Kingdom and forcing her to work as a slave. She didn't pay her. She exploited and abused her and would not let her find employment elsewhere. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't write the rules. I don't write the news. Diddy's legal team makes bombshell allegations against CNN. The picture, you know, guys, the picture where he hits, what's her face? Who's the girl? Cassie Ventura, I guess. He hit her on camera. We've all seen the tape, I hope. And then he, drags her, I think. Now, what Diddy's saying is CNN had the original copy. The original copy was given. I don't know why anyone wouldn't have made a copy of the original, but whatever. The original was sold to CNN way back when. CNN edited it, at least that's what Diddy's accusing them of, and then posted it and destroyed the original. Why would you do that anyway? So, whatever, there's a lawsuit going on. Diddy's trying to get this part dealt with. And this is, I think, is where your fancy lawyers are going to be like, yep, so you guys altered the evidence that you're using, and then all of a sudden they're able to throw that evidence out because it was manipulated and they can't prove otherwise. Right? So this whole Diddy thing is going to be interesting. You've got some of the best lawyers on the planet representing him. Why? There's so many people that are interested in making sure that truth never comes out. Right? Just look at some of the, was it Comey or I don't know, one of them. I forget who the person is, but she's involved in this case as well as the Epstein case. Right? These are all the deep state thugs, all of them. This was powerful, and I wanted to play this before. Well, I'll play that last, I guess. This is just a real cool little science article. Believe it or not, scientists apparently have managed to freeze pure light. And what they're saying is they created a super solid using photons. Now, photons, for you guys that aren't real sciencey, right? Photons are supposed to be, they call them wavicles because it acts like a wave and a particle. It's weird. Photons have mass, they say, but only while it's moving. The second it stops moving, it stops having mass. The second it stops moving, it stops being really a photon. So it's this weirdly energetic particle that seems to have mass while it's moving, but doesn't otherwise. Now, I think this is where Einstein probably had some thoughts about how mass and speed of light and the speed are somehow related. I actually think Einstein's equation has been either vastly improved, or the real version of it that they actually use to do really crazy deep dark projects is very different than what we've been told as E equals MC squared. There's got to be some additional stuff that's thrown in there. Whatever the case is, this is what us stupid people have been given as how it works. I don't think it's actually true. Also, they were able to make a solid with light, which really kind of goes into just the manifesting process. You literally made light turn into a physical object. That's kind of how manifesting works. Thoughts have power. All said, all right, so this is a guy, he cusses a bunch, but this is 15 steps, 12 steps? It's good steps on how to be, 12 steps on how to just kick ass more. And I think all of us need to get better at kicking ass, and here is exactly that type of thing happening. And this dude's doing a bitchin' job telling us, and again, I wanted to put it up here at the beginning, but he cusses a bunch, and I like it. He's like Italian or something. I don't know. I don't know if he drops F-bombs, but he definitely says shit a bunch. Whoops, did I say shit? I shouldn't say shit, should I? Shit's a bad word. Yeah? Okay, sorry. I'll stop saying shit. My bad. Shit.
12 things that you need to remember when you're doing well. 1, keep your fucking mouth shut. 2, do not tell people your plans until they materialize. 3, never expect to get what you give. 4, every day you get up, be better. 5, be grateful for everything that you have. 6, sometimes what you're holding on to is the one thing you need to let go of. 7, if you want to buy things without looking at the price tag, stop watching the fucking clock and work your ass off. 8, God puts people in your life for one reason. 9, the moment you start to achieve success, the devil is going to come knocking on your fucking door. 10, You're gonna always upset people when you do what's best for you. 11, you are gonna lose all the friends that are not true friends. Your true friends are gonna stick with you through thick and thin. 12, life doesn't get easier. You just get fucking stronger and you can endure anything. So let's go, baby.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier. It gets, you just get better at it, I think. Or, yeah, like he says, you get stronger. It's just the way it is. And, yeah, he used the F word a bunch. It was better I said shit than that, right? I mean, I'm just saying. He said it, not me. We've got so many things happening, and it's happening quickly. It's not even happening at the speed of government anymore. It's happening at the speed of government times, X, 10, I think at least. It's significantly faster. We're making a big, big difference. And we are going to continue to move forward, step by step, together. A lot of this is going to be trying to help other people understand, because when you can get other people to start thinking differently, you start changing their lives as well as the big picture, because we're all co-creating. And if we get additional people to sort of see the common ground, you get them to talk about the common ground, you get them to focus on the common ground, and you start creating the common ground. You guys are the deal. The ripple making is what is changing the world. I talk to you, but you guys talk to millions. That is the power of what we're doing right now. It's not just holding a flashlight, like I sometimes simplify it to, but we're given direction. And that's actually the key. It may not seem like we're doing much, because we're not, but it affects greatly. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.